I'll take you for a ride on the devil's ship. I'll take you for a ride where you sink or swim. Now come with me and let this story begin.
Viva.
How long has it been?
Months, I think.
It's been the last time I was here. We had to wear masks coming from the ground to the top floor.
Yeah.
Whatever floor we're on.
Well, not anymore.
The rules have changed. The science has changed. So now
science has changed.
2 months later, masks are no longer required.
It depends who you
indoors.
are. Because when the rules change, it's funny because the day before the rules officially changed, I saw people panicking. It's like, you have to wear a mask. Like, what do you think is going to happen between right now and midnight?
What I love is they announced the change of the mask mandates for a week or two in advance. So it's at 11:59 on a Monday night that the science changes. It's political science. It is indeed science. It's just not the MD scientific science. It's pure politics and pure polling.
I don't even see it like that anymore. I see it as an IQ test for society. I look around me and I see who buys into certain stuff, and I'm like, all right, you're an idiot.
I see. The thing is, judging people as idiots is one thing. I judge them. On the one hand, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the person wearing the mask outside alone is doing it because they are sick and they know it, and they just need to get outside.
I like that.
So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe when they're wearing it in a car alone, it's not their car, or maybe they're an Uber driver. But people wearing masks, I don't judge them as being idiots at this point. I just judge them and feel bad for them that they're living in a constant irrational state of fear that they literally think like radon or like radiation particles around them. They're wearing this mask and it's going to bequeath to them some form of protection when they're alone outdoors or alone in their car.
It's religious at this point.
It's superstitious.
Yeah, we're not going to say religious. Yeah, there's no ceremony around it. It's just superstitious.
Well, I think religion has beneficial traits to it. You know, there's a ritual. There is some, I call it faith-based superstition, but religion has value. Superstition is purely arbitrary. You do it to satisfy some irrational fear, thought, or compulsion in your brain. Like, if I make this, paper into the garbage can, I'm going to get something good today. That's the type of superstition that it is. I'm going to wear this mask, this filthy, disgusting mask, which I haven't changed in however long. Or I'm going to wear a cloth mask, which is even more preposterous, outdoors, alone, on a beautiful sunny day.
I see that.
When doctors and scientists have said it's exceedingly rare, if not virtually unheard of, for outdoor transmission, unless you're smooching with someone who's got COVID.
Well, maybe that's what they're doing. They're going out making out with people. I don't judge.
I saw a guy pull down his mask,
relentlessly.
Wearing a mask outdoors, pulled it down to smoke a cigarette.
That's healthy, bro. That's health 101. I don't know what your problem is.
Hand to mouth after you pull down your mask and then put it back on because, while you're wearing it.
It's 1978 health. I'm feeling sick. Give me one of those cigarettes.
The health sticks that the government gives to soldiers because it's good for them.
Oh, because we're talking about fear. Bill C-11. People said it was irrational to believe this was actually going to go through, that it was going to pass. No one's going to censor the internet. No one's going to censor podcasters.
It's not censorship, Poseidon. Sorry, Pantelis. It's not.
It is.
It's not censorship. It's protecting Canadian content. And if you dare challenge that, you are a far right extremist, selfish, who doesn't care about community. Okay. It's nuts. It's now.
Just to break it down, for the government to either ask YouTube to slow down the views on my channel or to block my podcast, how the hell does that help Canada?
Well, let's start from even the beginning of the beginning.
Yeah.
C-11 is the sequel or the baby brother or the offspring of Bill C-10, which was, what do they want to call it? They called it regulating the internet. I forget what it was. It was intended purportedly, Bill C-10, to regulate online streaming. It was called the Online Streaming Act. I think that's C-11 now. It was intended to treat streaming on the internet the same way radio and television broadcasters are treated under the Canada Broadcast Act.
They're going to give us money to say nice things about Trudeau.
Well, what they're going to that's if you're lucky. We'll get to the actual underlying political motivation, in my humble opinion. But
what nice head of hair he have, fearless leader.
C10. If anyone remembers the debates with Guilbeault, C10 was going to regulate online content the way it regulates radio and television. They said it's only going to apply to Hulu, Netflix, these companies which are using the internet the way the television and radio had been previously used, and we're going to apply the same standards to them. They have to have a certain amount of Canadian content. They have to pay certain dues. There's certain fines if you don't respect the law, yada, yada. And people are like, okay, well, that's fine, but you're going to incidentally get individual handles, individual social media accounts. And they say, don't worry, we're not doing that under Bill C-10. We're going to specifically include an exclusion that says we are not going to include in this law individual social media accounts. Don't worry, it's for the big broadcasters, the streamers, the Netflix, the Hulus, whatever else there is out there. In the dead of the night under C10, they remove that exclusion. So now they no longer provide the exclusion that it's not going to cover independent, like
anyone's Facebook, Instagram, whatever you post.
They remove it. And then they say, well, why'd you remove it? It's like, well, we're not targeting them anyhow. This is Guilbeault, the Minister of Heritage.
I've seen him riding his bike.
Have you seen him getting arrested for scaling a building? I mean, the criminals are now literally in office, but...
Oh, he can scale a building?
He scaled the CN Tower back in the day to protest green... What do they call it? Greenpeace stuff. Got arrested for...
It's like Spider-Man with Downs.
He's
fucking Syndrome Man. Good for him.
Okay, no comment. No, I'm just saying. He got arrested. I don't even care. He got arrested for being an activist back in the day. He's now in office. So he says, look, we don't want to target. We don't have any intention of targeting them.
So why would you remove that exclusion?
I forget who the guy is. Why did you remove the exclusion? And he's hemming and hawing and whatever. And then a few weeks later, we're going to get individual accounts if they're big enough. If they're acting like broadcasters, we're going to go after individual accounts. This is under C10. Call the election. They never actually got to the Senate with this. Bill was dead in the water. New cycle of politics comes in. And then C11 is basically picks up where C10 left off. And it's the same thing, but maybe even a little stronger in that, from what I understand, it's going to compel YouTube, the platforms, to promote or suppress content if it doesn't meet CanCon requirements, Canadian content requirements.
But that's a little vague, right?
What it is? It's Chinese level control of the internet. People laugh at China. They say, "What a repressive regime! You don't get Google in China." Well, we're not far off from being in Canada and saying, true. "Sorry, not available in your region." Because the government says it's not enough CanCon, so we're going to suppress it or whatever. And so that's Bill C11. People have been up in arms about it. Another Canadian content creator, JJ McCullough.
I like JJ.
I like him a lot. He's good.
He went and he spoke.
So he was invited by the Conservatives to voice his opinion. He made a great video about the whole process of going to Parliament to voice his opinion on this. Yeah, it's great. Where he remarks, the only voices there are, yes, Trudeau, we need this. You have the Bell Canada, you have all these reps who want regulation of the internet.
What about the people actually creating the content?
No, you want the legacy media. The legacy media wants more than anything this to happen because it will suppress. It's not suspicious. It's obvious. It will suppress the voices that have succeeded on their own merit without government propping them up with $1 billion to Radio-Canada, CBC.
What are those voices?
600 million to legacy media, COVID ads. They want to regain their artificially propped up prominence on the internet, and this is how they're going to do it. And now C11 apparently just passed the House, and it's off to the Senate.
The Senate, I tweeted last night, I said, if this actually does pass in the Senate, they should all just quit, resign, because you don't stand for democracy. This is crazy.
Pantelis. I'm going to get my brain fart. It's Pantelis and Poseidon's over there.
Everyone makes that mistake.
No, it's a total.
It's because they're uncommon names for like non-Greeks especially. So you just remember the P and then you're like, oh fuck, what's the rest of this shit?
I'm not going to. It's a brain issue, but they're not going to resign. They're doing this for democracy, Pantelis. They're not doing it. What's absurd is that they all have the same interest in this. It is to
very special interest.
It's like a one-party system, just cloaked as NDP, Liberal, Conservatives. I think the Conservatives are probably going to come out against this now because it's sufficiently unpopular. But it's already gotten through the House, and I don't know what the vote was.
So Conservatives also voted for this.
If it got through, I mean, presumably with the unholy alliance between the NDP and the Liberals, I don't know how many Conservatives opposed it, but it presumably would have gotten through regardless.
That's why I don't like politics, especially like in Canada. There's no one that I feel I can vote for right now because I don't know what anyone stands. Like liberals, they're not liberal at all. It's the complete opposite. Conservatives, I don't know what they're conserving. Clearly, it's not freedom of speech. It's not a free internet. It's not freedom of expression. None of that shit. So there's no one to vote for. They're all garbage.
I have the liberals are fascists. The NDP are pseudo-fascists, and the Conservatives are liberals. So
it's crazy.
Take your pick.
And they're not really liberal. The Conservatives are not. If they were liberal, they would be against it. They'd be like, no, we can't stop people from posting something because it's not Canadian enough or whatever.
They purport that it's to protect Canadian culture. The CBC, and I had this live on my stream yesterday. The CBC, on the day when Justin Trudeau gets diagnosed with COVID or tests positive for the second time in 5 months, despite his status, that is the headline on CBC is the January 6th hearing committee in the States.
Super Canadian. I don't know what your problem is.
And they satisfy CanCon, Canadian content requirements. The second story, I don't know. Third story, I don't know. The fourth story was about lampreys entering New Brunswick waters to spawn. Invasive lampreys. The seventh story was Justin Trudeau testing positive for COVID yet again.
Didn't he just test positive when the truckers went up?
Allegedly. I mean,
one of these was fake.
Or there's only a few ways to look at this. Either it's true both times, in which case it can show one of several things. Either these rapid tests or the tests pick up false positives.
Maybe.
Okay. Or they don't. If they do, big problem. If they don't, and he's tested positive twice within 5 months,
Still a problem.
That's still another problem. It shows that maybe
he's not getting the good shot. He should have got the shot that they gave Justin Bieber.
I knew you were going there.
Should have given him the good shot.
I do not. I'm not a stand-up comic because I can't make these jokes. Everyone has these thoughts, but I can't. I don't feel good making these jokes when someone is actually suffering at the end, like Justin Bieber.
Yeah, I actually feel bad. Friend of the show, Justin Bieber, for those of you who don't know, was half his face is paralyzed right now. I don't think it's gonna last. He's a strong, healthy young man. I think he's gonna get past this. I thought it was the Timbits. I thought I saw him do those commercials. I thought, stay away from these sugary snacks.
By the way, people, I can laugh at stand-up comedy even if I do enjoy good stand-up comedy.
Oh, I'm definitely not happy about it. When at first the way I saw it was there was a video of him speaking, telling his fans why he canceled shows, and I didn't know that he canceled shows. I don't go to Bieber concerts, so I'm watching and I'm like, what the fuck is there? I've never seen him. There's some. I never noticed that his face is weird. That's what I thought. And then he goes, as you can see, half my face, and I was like, oh fuck, they must have worked him to the bone. And then I saw on Twitter, they go, him and his wife, she got blood clot. They just got like their fifth shot. I was like, holy shit, this is shot related? Can he sue? Is it shot related or is that just rumors?
We don't know. You don't know what you don't ask. You don't know what they don't tell you. One thing you can reasonably deduce is that he is fully vaccinated and boosted because he's on tour, and it was a requirement of his shows. You had to be fully vaccinated to go and to travel. Everyone knows it. Okay. The only question is, what's the proximity, and is there any cause and effect? Correlation does not equal causation. We know. But imagine this.
That would suck.
Within 3 months, his wife, young, healthy woman, suffers a brain clot, and he suffers Ramsay Hunt syndrome, which is facial paralysis. Anyone who's seen the screen grab, you'd think the side where he's blinking is the side that was paralyzed, but apparently it's the other side where he can't blink with one eye.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is tremendous. I can imagine I mean, I'm not saying this to be funny.
No, he was
dry eye. It's like
he was actually saying it. He goes, as you can see, I can't move this eye. It's not blinking. And I was like, holy shit. But when I saw the video, I didn't go to the internet. I didn't go to Twitter yet to see the rumors. So I thought he was overworked or something. That's why he slowed it down. I don't know how that
Ramsay Hunt syndrome is a potential side effect of shingles. Which shingles is a reviving of the herpes zoster. It's basically the adult version of chickenpox.
Yeah, you get all over your body.
I had it actually before COVID, February 2020. I had it all over my torso. It was excruciatingly itchy to the point of pain. Itchy to the point where you cry. It just takes a couple months to go away, and months.
Do you think he's going to be all right?
So the Ramsay Hunt syndrome apparently is a temporary paralysis.
Okay, good.
They say temporary, but it could lead to permanent hearing loss. This is a man who's in the prime of his life, you can't even calculate how much he's worth over the next decades. And who knows what the cause is. But one thing we know for sure, within 3 months, his wife gets a brain clot, is hospitalized and released. He gets either shingles, which led to this. Shingles itself is a potential side effect of a number of things.
Yeah, I saw the Pfizer docs. I saw
it's on the, and not just to be that. I say conspiratorial in a sense.
But it's not just with that. It happens with a lot of shots.
It happens with it's always GBS. These are potential reactions, not just to shots, any foreign intrusion into the body.
It depends how your system works,
exactly,
how it reacts.
And so these are potential side effects to viral infections in general. And so it's not to blame it on one thing definitively.
He could have got something else.
He could have gotten something else. He could have done something else. He could have gotten an infection and whatever. But the fact that we can't ask certain questions and we can't, ask the questions to rule it out, it's a sign of the times.
Oh, can we not ask? I haven't seen anyone get...
If you ask, you are a right-wing conspiracy theorist who's looking to blame everything on the shot and nothing else. And I was like, well... If I can't even ask the question...
world.
It's a culty... It's the cult of cancellation or the cancellation of cult... No, it's the cult of cancellation.
Yeah.
Can't even ask. I mean, I put out a video. I just read the
All I do is ask.
No, hey, dude, I'm sorry. What's changed in the last couple of years that would result in... which journal was it? Doesn't matter. They published an article about something called SADS now. Sudden Adult Death Syndrome.
I see what you're getting at. What has changed? I see what you're
striking 40 people, years 40 and under.
The release of those Tim Biebs. I see what you're getting at.
And the article says everyone, even healthy people under 40, should go get their hearts checked. Well, I'm sorry. I've been alive a long time. I've been a neurotic hypochondriac a long time. They've never issued these warnings. So what has changed? COVID has changed and something else has changed.
What am I running at right now? Let's see. I'm running at an 80. That's very high. I'm normally a 68. That's how you know I'm agitated.
I think I'm 60 or under right now.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't even ask the questions. To ask the questions is to allegedly promote alleged conspiracy theories. But lo and behold, there's a lot of numbers and a lot of stats that are now coming to light on the NCIB. There was another article where cases of myocarditis in young people exploding.
Yeah.
Question's going to be: is it related to the virus or the vaccine? And
or staying in, not doing shit.
But that's another one where people say, it's neither the COVID nor the vaccine. It's 2 years of sedentary behavior.
I have no idea. I'm just saying.
But by the way, even if you're right, even if it's as a result of 2 years of forced sedentary life, unhealthy stress, staying at home, not seeing friends, not getting exercise, I'm sorry, that's still a direct result of awful and inhumane policy, and people should be held politically responsible.
They won't. You know why? Because people seem to be very complacent. They don't want to deal with it, so they just go, that's a conspiracy. Like they don't want to. No one wants to address the elephant in the room.
Well, it's even worse than that.
We're scared of elephants.
You imagine if you're a parent and now it's come to your realization that you might have actually caused harm to the people that you loved the most and were trying to protect the most. If whether it's the Fauci jab, whether it's the sedentary life, whether it's the stress that parents have put their kids under for the last 2 years, stress and isolation, parents might now have to start realizing they bought into something which incidentally or accidentally or whatever, predictably caused harm to the people they loved and were trying to protect. And what's the way you deal with that? It's a very, very psychologically devastating thing to say, I might have just taken years off my kid's life. So what's the easy way to deal with it? I had to do it, and it was all for the better. Live with the lie, because facing the truth is just too hard.
But we don't get anywhere if we don't face the truth. I feel bad for that Bieber kid. I hope he's fucking okay. He doesn't seem to bother anyone. He didn't bother anyone. The kid, he's just trying his best. He's doing his shows.
I never had my issues with Bieber. I mean, he's had the, what's the word? He's lived the hardships of massive success.
Yeah.
But there's more serious people to hate out there.
Yeah, there's nothing. He didn't do anything hateable.
He egged his neighbor's house, and he's a pompous prick.
Who hasn't?
Well, not me, but whatever. I've done other things in childhood.
You see?
No, but there's more worthy people out there of our discontent.
Yeah, but we can't right now because they have COVID, so they're isolating.
Can you imagine, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, Justin Trudeau, second time in 5 months, test positive. Whether or not he did, maybe he's ducking out of another important meeting.
Yeah.
But if he didn't,
I think he's using it. You know what? Brilliant on his part. Anytime he doesn't want to do something, he's like, I got the vids,
no,
bro.
but you know what? I can't. It would be too stupid of a thing to lie about, because it basically.
He repeatedly lies. No one cares.
No,
so,
but publicly, it means either he's got such a weak immune system that he's catching the virus within 6 months, or that which he's promoting and that which he's predicating freedoms on
is useless.
Is not useless, because it might have been worse for him had he not had the whatever.
I don't think so.
But he's traveling. Imagine if he gives Joe Biden the Rona. I mean, imagine that. He's going to have to lock down all of Canadians to punish us so that it never happens again.
No, the most embarrassing would be if he gives Biden herpes, because then there's going to be a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of questions. That would be worse. That is an international incident.
Well,
it's the Oval Office, not the Oral Office. That would be.
He did appear to be having a better time with Gavin Newsom in California than.
Oh yeah, I saw he had a meeting.
Oh, he had a meeting.
They were both like, "Fuck people," right? Like, yeah, fuck people. And they high-fived.
What were they talking about? I got so lost.
Rights are overrated.
Climate change. No, they're both out there talking about climate change as Justin Trudeau expels 5,000 times more carbon footprint than the average Canadian. He flies down to California to meet up with Gavin Newsom to lecture the world on how they're going to take away our rights for the environment.
Why didn't you guys do a Zoom like everyone else?
I can swear, but I'm not going to. Do a flipping Zoom. Or you know what? Talk on the phone. Here's what I don't care to see. Both your hypocritical faces talking about how you're taking our rights away while you are living a life of absolute hypocrisy, double standards, rules for thee but not for me.
That's not amazing. I'm not even angry at them. I'm telling you, it's regular people who support this. They're like, we need a king and a queen. I need someone to tell me what to think, what to do. It's these people that I'm disgusted by. I'm like, come on, man. Why? Then don't move somewhere where it's not free. Go to a country where they have to tell you what to do this, and you just wait in line. You wait for your daily meal of bread. Go there.
Who was it? I think it was Kant as a philosopher who said you have to have rules to have freedom. But what's amazing is it's the double standard of them. But I know people in everyday life. Like, yeah, we're flying to Geneva, we're flying to whatever city to talk about climate change. Like we are the elite, we are the intellectual elite.
Who are you speaking to?
Who deserve this? Here's an idea. First of all, meet by Zoom, lead by example.
Lead by example.
Second of all, identify the proper problems. I mean,
also, who are you meeting with? You keep meeting. They've resolved nothing. Like right now, Justin Trudeau met with Gavin, and they high-fived each other. What changed?
No, they got their Facebook soundbite, and
but that's it. Like you're not doing anything. But then there's people like they met. This is so powerful.
They're building their image of prestige and superiority.
But it only works on imbeciles. It only works. Anyone that could think a bit is like, wait a second, this doesn't make any goddamn sense.
I try not to use those judgmental terms, but it does.
Oh, I do. I'm here for you.
It works on the politically ignorant and people who are just too busy with their daily lives to care. Like, okay, fine, do whatever you want, Trudeau. I've just got to get to work in the morning, and I don't care about all of this
until he shows up and says you can't go to work today.
Well, until you realize it's costing you twice as much to get to work now.
Yeah.
I mean, with the way things are going, it's
that's not a real thing.
Well,
it's not a real thing. Why are you making up rumors? The gas prices are fine.
No, it's Putin's gas hike.
Yeah.
It's not inflation. It's transitory inflation. It's not permanent. Okay, it's permanent inflation, but it's a good thing.
The stock market is the best it's ever been, which is why it's crashing.
Oh my God, I just checked I don't own very much Bitcoin.
I'm all in the red, baby.
Oh, in the red. I was down 50. I mean, I don't have that much in Bitcoin, and I'm glad I don't. But I looked at it yesterday. I was like, oh, maybe I'll buy more, or maybe I'll just cut my losses. But this guy, Mike Cernovich, I think we know him. I've seen him on Twitter. He's a strong brain, even though people don't like him.
What does he do, him? I've seen like tweets.
Well, yeah, he's written a book. He made the documentary Hoaxed. Smart, extremely smart guy. And he observed.
It's a robotic name, Cernovich.
Cernovich is Polish, but he's not Jewish, despite people accusing him of it sometimes. He put out a tweet that basically rightly observed Americans, and I suspect it's roughly the same for Canadians, have effectively lost a month and a half of salary. They worked the 12 months. They're now being paid for 10 and a half, equivalent based on the way things are going. Who can do that? Who can put up with that? And
everyone, apparently.
And then meanwhile, these, you got the George Takeis. You got, who's the other one who says,
George Takei. Come on, George Takei. You have to cut him some slack. You could tell by some of the stuff he says. He's not all there. Cut him some slack.
Well, Rob Reiner. I mean, these guys are saying, I'd pay $10 at the pump if it's to keep Trump out of office.
I know, but how do I explain this to you in philosophical terms? Should a donkey kick you? You're going to kick the donkey back? It's a donkey, dude. It doesn't know.
Well, I wouldn't kick the donkey back because it'll kick you back even harder.
Yeah, just leave.
A donkey can do more damage to you.
It doesn't know what it's doing. Leave it there.
George, these people saying, first of all, there was one politician who said, I passed all these gas stations in my Tesla. I don't care how much gas costs. Well, that's because you could
What about the single mom going to work?
No, but afford a Tesla or even get a Tesla. You can't get a Tesla now and then the absolute stupidity of it all, and I'm referring to politicians, therefore I can say stupid. These idiots think that Teslas are just green. They're like, where'd that massive lithium battery come from? Where'd the rare minerals in that battery come from?
Little black kids in Africa. Why are you asking
you're
questions?
Exploiting Sierra Leone. You're destroying, developing nations. Where does the electricity come from? Oh, you're flooding native lands.
If I understand correctly, you're some kind of a racist that doesn't want to give jobs to 7-year-old black kids. Is that what's happening here, Viva?
That's a good spin. That's a spin.
But that's what they do. What kind of racist doesn't want a 7-year-old black man working in the mines?
We don't want to destroy the environment by drilling for oil here. So let's go devastate developing nations, have kids working there with no standards, so we can get our green energy cars here. And by the way, here, the charging stations either use hydro, where you flooded native land, cause mercury poisoning in the fish that they eat, that the natives are eating and getting mercury poisoning.
Trudeau has proven natives don't matter in this country.
Nobody matters to Trudeau.
He doesn't care.
Nobody matters to Trudeau.
He'll fake cry, and then he'll be like, I'm so sorry. They're like, all right, we'll accept that apology. Can we have some water? He's like, go fuck yourselves.
No, we apologize for the residential schools and the historical abuse of the indigenous peoples.
You're going to help us out now?
But
no.
But I can't get you clean drinking water because that's too complicated.
But isn't that a basic human right? Not for you. Like, come on. This is stupid.
And it's, and then meanwhile, in the interim, we're going to impose travel restrictions that are going to disparately impact Indigenous, Latino, Black Canadians. But you're the misogynist, you're the racist, you're the xenophobe, you're the transphobe.
Thank you.
But I fire my Indigenous female mojag. I desecrate on the Indigenous populations. I impose unconstitutional rules which disparately impact minorities. But I'm the intolerant one. True.
Yeah, I like this. That's what they do. That's the spin. Anytime he does something sexist, racist, or whatever, you're like, isn't that a little racist? That's what a sexist would say.
Imagine he called the Ottawa protest racist, anti-black racist, transphobe, misogynistic. and I'm there, and I met with indigenous peoples.
That's the panic. He's like, what do I call this thing?
No,
They're like, try everything.
The indigenous
throw everything at it.
It's too much. The question is, why are people not waking up to it? I hate the hyperbolic. What's the word? Wake up.
Well,
but why are people not realizing this?
Part of the reason is it takes energy, and also you have to filter through the shit, because the problem is, let's say you're on the internet right now and you're like, all right, was this dangerous? Was that to do? Was this normal? You're going to fall into the trap of clicking on the next thing, and the next thing is going to tell you, when you took the jab, there's a GPS tracker in there. and you're like, all right, that's absurd. So then what you do is everything that says the jab may have not been good, you go against it because you assume, oh, that's all in the same boat. So then you just, let me see what the news says. And the news says, oh, it's right, and Trudeau's great, and Trudeau loves natives. They all have water. Forget the complaint. The people and the reserves complain they don't have water. Those are white supremacists dressed up as natives. And you're like, I guess that's true. I don't fucking know. It's so stupid. It's all so dumb. There's no second degree of, wait a second, none of this is making sense. Let me sit down a second.
It is, that's been one of my running theories as well. As
conspiracy theorists that go crazy make it worse on everyone, because then you don't know what to believe.
But then you get this, you get the likes of the CBC and whatever focusing on people who promote absolutely illogical, untenable theories, and then they lump them together with, the theory that perhaps taking too many vaccines could potentially compromise your immune system in the long run. So you lump that with the 5G antenna, then you disregard the legitimate or the potentially legitimate with the outright absurd.
Yeah. It's a nice tactic.
It's a great tactic. It's part of the reason why I believe you have some big players in the media, in politics, deliberately playing up and exaggerating the most preposterous of the outlandish of the theories, so they can then exploit them to say, well, look, he's a flat earther, when we're at an Ottawa protest type thing.
Yeah.
And that's it's
I heard that too. They said that the Ottawa protest, they were flat earthers. They were everything. They just used everything in the book. They're like, we gotta get these people.
And we got one picture of one Nazi flag and one Confederate flag on day one that never reappeared, and we defined the 3-week protest by these two images,
away from the actual
protest. Yeah. Very suspicious that there would be like professional photographers right at that time and never to be seen again.
It's just a coincidence. Stop overreacting.
But at the very least, all I'll say is that our agents provocateurs in Canada are much more polite.
Yeah, they're not violent
than the ones that you see in the States.
Yeah, they couldn't even put a fire properly. They couldn't even start a fire.
They couldn't even actually cause damage to a monument because the protesters there were preventing people from damaging the monument.
Yeah, I remember that with the monuments and stuff. I got pissed when I saw people just not caring. I didn't care about the flag. The flags I thought was crazy when they wrapped Canadian flags around a Canadian hero, and then they said
desecration.
They desecrated.
This is for anybody who doesn't know, it's the Terry Fox Monument in Ottawa.
He's a Canadian hero.
They put the flag in his hand.
That's why. But so I kept looking. I go, is there? Because I thought, because of the color, I go, is there spray paint I'm missing? Like, did they write fag or something on? Like, I don't understand what the thing was. And they're like, no, they desecrated by putting the Canadian flag. I was like, you're Canadian.
And it's not just that. Once upon a time during Pride Month, I think it was during Pride Month, they put the Pride flag on Terry Fox.
Yeah, all the time.
Celebrated. Yeah. Put a Canadian flag there, desecration. But most people don't know what the underlying. But what's crazier, most people don't bother to go see what was the desecration. They read a headline, and that's it. They leave with that. And then people
I have been
headline,
guilty of the same.
I don't touch monuments, I don't think, but...
I mean like reading the headline.
But we all have. And then once you get burnt 2 or 3 times, you either read into the headline or don't even read the first 2 paragraphs. You got to read where they buried the lead.
Yeah.
But then there was a story about someone having urinated on the monument, the war memorial in Ottawa. That was the other desecration. And I was like, okay, do we even know if that was a dog or a human? And then meanwhile, the vets who were there put up 24/7 surveillance and were protecting the monument, salting it, shoveling it, but they get demonized.
Oh yeah, the vets got demonized a bit too.
Oh yeah.
But that's what always happens to veterans. The second they come back from a tour, when they're on tour,
heroes.
The second they come back with PTSD, injuries, whatever, the government's like, all right, look, man, you got to go fuck yourself.
No, we've got to give billions of dollars to foreign nations. Yeah. We're not going to. Sorry, your utility has been served.
Exactly.
Now we brush you aside and ignore you.
I've had, and him too. He's had the. I'm not gonna say the luxury, but we've met a lot of veterans recently. Afghanistan. Some guys that he knows, like his girlfriend's father, who's done many tours, completely fucked up. They've seen some crazy shit, and the government doesn't care.
No, they'll download the app, the mental wellness app. We'll track your mental wellness, and then if we think we can exploit what you've communicated to the government, I don't know, red flag laws to say that you're a threat to yourself or others. Then
what's
then
that about? What's the red flag? I heard that coming out. What's this?
I think that's part and parcel now of Justin Trudeau's new order in council on the ban of handguns in Canada, although it's effectively been regulated into banning. Right now, you could still buy, if you had a license, you could still buy a handgun. You could transfer a handgun, and now I think it's just going to be an outright freeze. Even if you have a license, you're not going to be able to purchase or transfer handguns. But we've had a freeze in Canada for a long time.
Yeah, that's why it didn't seem like anything crazy.
Some of it was new, but some of it was just rehashing what was already done in 2020 in the dead of night during COVID with the last order in council, prohibiting, outlawing 1,500 types of long arms.
There's a lot of guns.
Well, apparently they had included in that list, gun models that either don't exist or these exceedingly rare models. Apparently, the rumor
no one's allowed to have laser guns.
No, but apparently the rumor was that they might have included accidentally an actual airsoft gun and a coffee.
Coffee, that's the best.
Because I think Black Rifle coffee. I think with not
there's Black Rifle coffee. Yeah.
But I think they did include something that absurd. I forget what the details are. But no,
we can't have you caffeinated out here shooting shit.
No, but it just shows you the idiocy. They just throw a bunch of crap together, ban it in the dead of the night, and but now so they're rehashing this debate. The issue about the buyback of long arms. People call it confiscation because they're buying back forcibly something that they never owned in the first place. But
so how is that a buyback?
They're taking it and they're gonna compensate you for it.
But if I'm selling you something, shouldn't I dictate the price?
Yeah, you know what the problem is? The government never. Well, true, but the government never even sold the long arms to the people in the first place. So it wasn't like the government sold it. And
that's why.
It's.
You want to buy? I'd be like, you want to buy my Magnum or whatever the hell I'm selling? I'd be like, $1.2 million, Trudeau.
It's like the government saying, "Yeah, I'm going to buy back your house. I never owned it. It's called expropriation. Call it what it is. This is compensated expropriation.
Very communist.
Yeah." But it's not new, that aspect of it. They're just rehashing some of the old stuff. But the good thing is, I say the good thing, Trudeau is inadvertently going to start a new discussion that has not been in the political fore. And that's the idea of why do we not have a right to self-defense in Canada? He came out the other day.
Oh yeah, he said it. Thank you for bringing that up.
You cannot own a gun for the purposes of self-defense in Canada.
But he has people around him with guns for his self-defense.
Rules for thee, but not for me. But
the fact that people are okay, the fact that people in this country can say, "Oh yeah, well he needs to defend himself. I don't. Fuck me." It's crazy.
First of all, yes, it's crazy. But this has been the case for a while. Anybody who's followed the firearm safety course knows you don't get.
Bring some waters.
You don't get a firearm. You don't get a hunting rifle for self-defense. Okay, period. In fact, if you specify that that's the reason for which you want it, you won't get it. They'll say no. You don't own firearms for self-defense. Hunting, target shooting. And for those who have known this, it's not new. But there's a lot of people now who might take a bit of offense to the government coming out and saying, you don't get to own a gun for self-defense, for home defense. And some people might say, why not? Oh, by the way, it's not just that. You don't get to own pepper spray for self-defense. You don't get to own a taser for self-defense.
I thought ladies were allowed to have pepper spray.
No, they're not. No, they're not. You cannot use anything if the use is intended for self-defense. You walk around the streets at night with a baseball bat to protect yourself, that's not allowed.
Well, if you're walking around with a baseball bat, it looks like you're going to hit someone. Well, I understand that could look a bit suspicious, but a lady having some pepper spray in her...
You can't have it. And
hold on a second.
Yep.
I'm a lady. I have pepper spray in my purse. I'm attacked by a man. He tries to sexually assault me. I pepper spray him in the face.
You're defending yourself.
I get in trouble.
You will get... Did you not hear? You heard the story. I think, Poseidon, if you can pull this one up.
Use the mic. Speak into it. Yeah, there we go.
Poseidon, sorry.
Yeah.
Check this story. I think it was Sweden or Switzerland. A woman used either pepper spray or a taser to defend herself from an active assault, and she got fined afterwards. That's what would happen. So you have to appreciate
I think all women should be up in arms right now. That's absurd.
Everyone should be up in arms. We cannot... the Charter says we have the right to life, liberty, and security of the person.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm trying to secure myself.
The Charter grants us rights which we cannot ensure for ourselves. I believe in law, even if you had a hunting rifle and an intruder comes to your farm and you use it, you'll probably get acquitted on self-defense. You'll probably still get charged though, and charged of maybe an ancillary offense which will not be self-defense related. It will be, I don't know. There's a number of infractions, and I don't want to look like I'm giving.
I have a wife and kids, and somebody breaks my house the night and he comes after us. I'm using any means necessary.
And by the way, I say, God forbid, you have an old gun that you didn't register when they came in with their new laws. I mean, you're looking at jail time for having a firearm if you didn't follow the strict government guidelines as to ensuring that you could lawfully continue to hold that after the previous gun ban. So he comes out and when he
Danish
says
teen fought off her attacker. Now she'll face fine. Yeah. Come on, guys. This is a clown world.
What year? Yeah, 2015.
A 17-year-old girl who was physically and sexually attacked in Sunderborg will herself face charges for using pepper spray to fend off her assailant. This is a clown world.
This was before, this was 5 years ago, 7 years ago.
This is a clown world.
It's here. I mean, it's been here for a while, but now...
Wednesday at around 10 p.m. by a dark-skinned English-speaking man. I don't know why the dark skin has anything to do with this. She said the man knocked her to the ground and then unbuttoned her pants. Holy shit. Attempt to address her. The girl was quick, fired out some pepper spray shots, and now they're like, whoa, what are you doing stopping this nice man from raping you?
It's illegal to possess and use pepper spray. So she will likely be charged for that.
That's absurd.
And so now you have 2022. The prime
If I was her boyfriend, her husband, or her father, there'd be hell to pay.
I mean, it was a warning 7 years ago. Nobody heard it.
Yeah.
We now have the Prime Minister of Canada at a time when there's increasing crime everywhere.
Yeah.
He's saying, as Canada, you can have a gun for hunting and for target shooting. But it's just not a thing we have in Canada. You don't get to use one for self-defense. Well, thanks, Trudeau. I think you just reinvigorated the argument. Why the hell not?
I have a question.
Yes.
Many shootings have been happening lately, especially here in Laval. Here, I mean like close to us, Laval. Let's say, hypothetically, I'm in Laval. I'm in the middle of a shootout. One of these guys gets shot, drops his gun. The other guys are still shooting. They don't know that I'm not with these gangs. I pick up that guy's gun. I shoot at them. I off some of these guys. In self-defense, clearly, they were shooting at me. Am I getting in trouble?
That would make for a good law exam question.
Yeah.
I would definitely not take the prosecutorial side of that, and I would take the defense side of that, and I would say there's no unlawful possession because...
I don't own the gun.
You don't own the gun?
They're shooting at me. There's a gun in front of me.
Self-defense and period, clear cut. Yeah. I don't know. But that would make for a decent law exam question.
That's what I do. I ask the hard-hitting questions around here.
No, it's like it starts to feel like the government is deliberately trying to make your life hard, if not ruin it, and then demonizing you when you complain about it. And
would I be guilty of killing a very nice gang member who was only trying to shoot me?
I'm sure you would. If for nothing else, public outcry would be this is preposterous.
Yeah.
And so you'd fight. But whether or not they find other reckless discharge of a firearm. I mean, look what they did to Rittenhouse in Wisconsin. I mean, the guy. It was, from anybody who was paying attention, the most clear-cut case of self-defense. It didn't prevent.
Not in the beginning. What they showed us in the beginning was something else. The headline said that he went and shot 3 black guys
at a BLM protest. He shot 3 black protesters at a BLM protest.
Yeah. How many black protesters did he shoot?
0. And how many convicted felons did he shoot? I believe it was 3.
Didn't he shoot a child rapist?
Well, that was Rosenbaum. Was one of the individuals he killed. Convicted child rapist or pedophile. Grosskreutz, he didn't kill, but he shot him in the arm.
That's the guy who pulled out the gun.
Yeah, he was in felony possession of a firearm because I believe he wasn't allowed to have that firearm. Yep. And then the other one, Anthony Huber, also was the one who strangled his grandmother, threatened to kill her, assaulted.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude.
It's not.
Nobody knows this because you still get the Independent, the day of the acquittal, still promoting the lie that Rittenhouse killed 3 black men at a black
I remember that. And people were outraged. People were starting to wake up what is this? This is a lie.
It's a lie. They corrected. Damage is done. But yeah, the Rittenhouse...
Kid should sue.
It's not that... Well, he's thinking about it, but it's not that he went out and shot 3 criminals. It's that he was violently attacked by 3 criminals because criminals sometimes act like criminals, and he defended himself against them. Yes.
What is the end goal? Why do all this? I don't get what the misinformation... What are they... Isn't it just... Doesn't it make it harder on everyone? Like, when people figure out that let's say Fox. People figure out that Fox is just the lie to skew in their position. If people figure out CNN is lied to skew to their position, which is what they're both doing most of the time. I mean, sometimes you'll get the truth from one and not the other, but most of the time it's just what benefits my narrative. Aren't people gonna tune away from these channels?
So there are people.
But what's the point?
There is a theory that the ultimate objective is
just to divide
distrust in everything, so that nobody knows what to believe, so that in theory there could be one savior of an individual who comes in and says, I have all the answers. It's to create such distrust in the system in its entirety, to destabilize society as a whole, that you can then have, in theory, one individual, one entity later on that can say, this is the truth. Follow me like a Pied Piper. Some people believe the actual goal is just to sow total distrust.
So that the
in
Rock
everything.
can come in and pretend that he could fix things.
Or just continue to raise up people so that people don't even know what to believe even when it's true. I see.
Wow.
Poseidon's pulled up the.
When you read it, it gets even worse.
Oh, yeah. This is which article is this from?
I don't know. It's
Heavy
Records.
Yeah, no, this is
Heavy.com.
Heavy.com. Every now and again, they get it right.
I don't know who Heavy is. I've never seen these people.
I know. I've pulled up some articles from Heavy.
It's me. I'm the CEO.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Look at this.
Poseidon's Heavy.
Heavy's. I don't know if it's like it's legitimate. I mean, I've seen them around.
Okay.
Wait until Poseidon reads some of these charges.
Oh, Poseidon, let me hear something.
He was a registered sex offender.
This is Rosenbaum.
11 charges in that case, but they were amended in a plea deal. And
11 charges convicted of amended count. According to online court records, Rosenbaum received 10 years in prison for sexual contact of a minor. Then he was sentenced to 2 years, 6 months for sexual contact of a minor related to the same. Holy shit.
Some of the counts allege anal rape and oral sex with minors. Masturbating in front of a 15-year-old, distributing naked photos of a woman to a minor under age 18, and other similar offenses.
Was this guy killed?
The five.
Yeah,
he was killed.
All right. So happy
the five
accident.
victims, all minor boys. Because I want to highlight, this is not a sexual orientation thing. This is that it wasn't like the 17-year-old boyfriend with a 15-year-old girlfriend type.
He just raped a bunch of kids.
This is of the most heinous type. Yeah, because
you see how the universe works sometimes. So like, if your bullet's gonna go anywhere,
well, the guy he'd gotten released from an institution the day of. He was clearly out of his mind. I mean, that's not to what's the word I'm looking for? And that's not to make excuses for his heinous criminal.
Yeah, I know plenty of people that are out of their mind. None of them have raped kids.
This guy was looking to kill somebody. Like, he would have killed Rittenhouse. The one thing that I was amazed with after having watched that trial is how lucky Rittenhouse is to be alive. I mean, so that was Rosenbaum.
I mean, the way I feel about it, though, is that even though it was a happy accident that he killed this guy, he was a kid. He shouldn't have been there anyway.
If the police had done their jobs and the police were preventing actual violent protests.
I know, but he was he's not the police. He shouldn't have been there either. The fact that he wasn't, I mean, it was legal. He wasn't there illegally. I'm just saying, my message to kids out there is stay safe, stay home. You're not going to be a hero. 9 out of 10 times, you're going to get killed.
Well, and not just that. Even the 1 out of 10 times that you survive, go through hell, get acquitted.
Yeah.
He's traumatized for life in a meaningful way. Maybe his life works out for the better in some sense. I guarantee you, he's like, why didn't I just stay home that night? I could have just watched an episode of The Simpsons. The city would have still burnt.
Yeah.
And
That's what I'm saying. You're not going to solve something. It needs to be a collective group effort. It's like when they talk about racism. One person is not going to stop racism. People need to wake up and be like, all right, bro, I can't. This is ridiculous.
Well, the only counter argument to that would be now the collective response to what happened to Rittenhouse might be enough to affect some form of change. We'll see. I mean, if it's my kid, I'm telling them to stay home.
Yeah, where the fuck are you going to go?
And if it's me, I'm staying home. You're not going to be able to do what you want to do.
If you're at a protest, a Black Lives Matter march, and you're a white guy setting fire to black businesses, that's not where I want my kid. Clearly, these guys are mental. They're not for black rights. They're not for it. They're just there to cause trouble.
They're there to raise shit. There's no question. Rosenbaum, Grosskreutz, Huber, they set fire to an Indian family's car
That's what I'm saying. It's like, we're here because minority rights matter. Like, all right, I'm cool with that. And it's like, why are you a white guy setting fire to an Indian guy's business?
They were criminals looking for criminality, and they would have found it. They were just on the receiving end of it that night. But who knows? Maybe that story now has red-pilled enough people. In the same way, maybe the Johnny Depp trial has red-pilled enough people as to being systematically lied and misled by the media. But why? There is profit to be made from instability, political and monetary profit, and also at the end of the day, keep everyone confused, keep everyone from even being able to understand as true basic truths, and they are easier to govern. I mean, that's.
Another question I have, are you easier to govern when you're confused? Doesn't that make it harder to govern?
No, I think it makes everyone live in a constant state of fear, and they're looking for the answers from the people purporting to have it. So, think back to the early days of COVID when total fear, total panic, total nobody knows what to believe, wash your fruits, leave books in the garage for 2 days. And it makes it easier to convince them to stay in their houses endlessly. 2 weeks to 2 months to 2 years.
So what is this? Like, what's the end goal here?
What's the end outcome? I mean, when you see what's going on everywhere in the world, the question is, what is the end goal? There was the joke meme the final variation of COVID is communism.
Yeah.
And you can...
We're heading there.
And it's funny, like, it was a joke at the time. It was like, even I said, that's a little hyperbolic. And look at where we are right now. Yeah, you have no rights. All it takes is the threat of a virus, and now you have the government tells you when you can leave your house, what you have to put into your body, who you can
you
talk to.
You will own nothing, and you will love it.
Oh, and then talk about that.
Isn't it weird when someone in the free world is being told by the government, "We're going to take all your shit, you don't need it," and they're like, "Yeah, that makes perfect sense."
The WEF, the Great Reset, was another purported conspiracy theory at the time.
Yeah, even it took 4 months for all those documents to come out.
Oh, no, that's it. Then you see it's like the Great Reset is not a conspiracy theory; it's a policy of the WEF. It's a wish goal. Then
I read, I bought his book, more of a large,
the Fourth Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, more of a large pamphlet.
Well, I wouldn't even steal that book.
No, I got to know what's going on there. I got to know what the plans are.
What are the plans?
Exactly what we thought they were.
Microchipping, medical IDs, and
medical ID. It's more for monitoring everything and basically trying to build a utopia. But the utopia that they describe is very close to communism because everything's rented. You don't need to own shit.
Poseidon, if you can get this.
Sovereign land is bullshit, is what they're saying.
Another study from the WEF. Yeah. If you can find Poseidon, it's about psychologists say leading a happy life doesn't mean a life of fulfillment. You have to see what.
Excuse me.
See, Google this. It was Rebel News that tweeted out the link.
Is it true though, or did Rebel skew it?
No.
They're a bunch of rebels.
Rebel's good. Rebel has now. Rebel is good.
I don't trust
in
anyone.
My books.
I don't trust Rebel. I don't trust Fox. I don't trust any of these cocksuckers.
I trust Rebel now, but I still verify. Like they put out a tweet. Oh, it was another guy I follow, Jack Posobiec, who put out a tweet of a Biden speech, and I was like, okay, I trust you, Jack, but
let me
I'm going to go see the full context of this statement, and it was even worse.
Did Schwab say this? World Economic Forum. Life doesn't have to be happy or even meaningful to be good. You could just work at the factory.
Look, the World Economic Forum, a controversial international organization headed by the billionaire Klaus Schwab, is now saying life does not have to be happy or even meaningful. They have psychologists who have prepared a report on which they're relying. These are, I don't use the word
being led
evil.
off the cliff.
I don't use the word evil very often, but when I use it, I think it's deserved. This man is evil. I don't even think.
Can I tell you what's worse than him? The amount of regular people that are going to be like, yeah, I agree. What do you think? Why do you think that's bad?
No, and the amount of regular people who are going to be psychologically beaten into submission, where they're going to say, it's so hard for me to be happy, to have fulfillment. I have to accept the fact that my life can be good even without it. I mean, it's the abuser's but
the fact that you have to accept the fact means that it's not good. Because you're being forced to accept something that's not real.
When I was saying shit's kind of starting to look like 1984 and people were making fun of me.
They were making fun of me.
Now motherfuckers is real quiet.
1984. People say it was like people are using it as an instruction manual.
Yeah, seriously.
No, but my running theory is Orwell was not predicting the future. He was describing the past in terms that would be able to be applied mutatis mutandis to all future events. He saw it. He saw it happen in real time. And so he could smell it in as much as the people who I interviewed from Hungary, from Poland, from Venezuela, all in Ottawa, they can smell communism coming.
I could see a lot of Animal Farm in a lot of these speeches.
All animals are created equal, but some are more equal than others.
Exactly.
And Justin Trudeau happens to be one of those more equal animals.
Yep.
But they have psychologists.
That's why that should be forced reading in schools. Animal Farm and 1984.
In full 1984 format. Not only is it not going to be forced reading, they're going to ban the book.
They're going to ban the book,
because you don't want people knowing what it looks like when it comes in a
Because in high school, if you would show that to kids, when they grow up and be our age, or even they'd be like, wait, what the fuck? Hell no, dude, that's suspicious. But now they don't know any better.
No, and now it is full 1984 format to now ban the books that let people have an inkling as to what's going on based on someone else's observation who lived through it in real time. But they have psychologists who are preparing reports saying you don't have to have, what does it say? You don't have to be happy or have a meaningful life for it to be a good life. I'm sorry, go F yourselves. That is exactly what a good life means. It means a happy and meaningful life. And any psychologist who makes a report saying otherwise, disbarred, disbanded, whatever can be dissed on them, disregarded.
What was the term in 1984? There was something very similar to that in 1984.
Well, no, the one thing from 1984, I remember a few things, but the one was that the government just comes out with reports. Chocolate production is up threefold this week.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, You don't even know if it's true anymore. It could be true, it could be false, and if it's true, it could just be because they reduced production threefold last week, so they can now say it's up threefold just to get it back to normal.
You tell me the war in Oceania is not a real thing?
We have always been at war with Oceania. It's and what was it? It was just recently. Oh God, it was just a perfect example of where they just changed the script in real time, but I won't be able to remember.
By the way, that sentence is 100% 1984. You can't be together for love. You can't. No. You're there for the system.
Peace is war. Ignorance is strength. Freedom is slavery.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is.
A miserable life is a good life. Go. Oh, there was another one where they said scientists discover that.
Hey, look, George Bush. He's never done anything wrong in his life.
George Bush.
Don't ask Iraq.
Everyone, by the way, as an exercise, if you guys are watching, Google any politician you're thinking of, WEF, just to see if they are A, on the WEF website, or B, have any pictures of them with Klaus Schwab.
I heard something on NPR, the radio. It was on it was in the car, and I was like, this is absurd. Someone actually was defending. They go, yeah, people have a lot of conspiracy theories about the WEF. What's the big deal? It's a bunch of important people getting together and deciding what they're going to do and dictating. And it's like, yeah, that is what's wrong. That is exactly what's wrong.
There was a woman at the WEF format saying, it's very nice the elites are all on the same page. I'm like, excuse me.
You just said elites.
You are unelected officials who have infiltrated. Have you seen the Klaus Schwab bit about him bragging about having penetrated
different cabinets? This is what should have people up and around. I don't know if they don't speak English anymore or they don't.
Poseidon,
guys, that's not what democracy is.
If Poseidon can pull up the soundbite, he goes, we have penetrated the
we've heard it. We've brought it up in different podcasts. Yeah, we've heard it.
Penetrated. I mean, and it's so graphic as an image. They've penetrated our parliament more than
I don't think he means it like that, but yeah.
Oh, well, it's a spiritual penetration, which makes it a spiritual violation.
Yeah, you'll own nothing and be happy. You haven't seen this?
What the fuck?
You never saw this?
What the fuck is this?
8 predictions, yeah.
Oh man. This is official WEF.
Yeah, this is what they were showing at the forum.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah. Whatever you want, you'll rent. I've spoken about this for a year.
Poseidon just got the black pill enema now in real time. That's what it sounds like. People.
The U.S. won't be the world's leading superpower.
China will.
A handful of countries will dominate. Look how Turkey's in front. You won't die waiting for an organ donor.
You'll be dead already.
Yeah. yeah. Okay. We won't transplant. We'll just print new ones instead. Let's see. You'll eat much less meat. You'll be unhealthy. Yeah. An occasional treat, not a staple, for the good of the environment and our health. 1 billion people will be displaced by climate change.
I'm sorry.
How do you know?
No, but they're going to make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what that sounds like? It sounds like they're gearing up to prepare the death of a billion people. But, if a billion people go missing.
You just reminded me of the changing in real time. So that scene from 1984, the guy's giving the speech. Someone comes up to him mid-speech, hands a piece of paper. It changes the entity with whom they were at war, and he just carries on, changes the name, and the crowd, at first stunned, starts cheering. When they start blaming the food shortages now on Putin, when they start blaming the gas prices on Putin, it's like it was pre-Putin, and then it goes from Bill Gates talking about potential mass starvation to now they're blaming it on Putin in real time, and people just gonna
look Putin. At this. Scientists will have worked out how to keep you healthy in space. Everyone is not going to space. Just deal with it.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of cool though.
Yeah, but everyone's not going to space. I know. Press play. I don't remember the end of this.
You will own nothing.
That I remember.
Be happy.
Western values will have been tested to the breaking point. Press pause.
Is that a
just so you know? Western values. Poseidon pause. Western values are supposed to be human rights, tolerance, equality,
family, education, respect.
Yeah, that's Western values, bro. That is crazy.
Now someone's gonna say, someone's gonna call that elitism, as if to say other. When they make this statement,
non-Western values usually are garbage.
Well, no, when they make this statement, they're making the statement of Western values. They're identifying it as something we know would have traditionally been regarded as Western values. It's been democracy, freedom of speech, charter rights. We know what they're talking about here. So anyone who's going to say that's elitism, what you just said, to compare it, that's what they're doing. What they're saying right here is the Western values, which we have known, democracy, freedom of speech, will have been tested to their breaking point because they're going to say too much freedom of speech leads to January 6th, it leads to riots, it leads to misinformation, and so we need to restrict freedom of speech for your own protection. That's where it's going.
Okay, too much water can lead to drowning too. We can't start banning water. Carry on.
Too much water can lead to, it's called... water intoxication.
It's called waterboarding. Get the answers you want, not the answers you deserve.
How much is left in this drivel?
It's almost done. Let's see what's next. Checks and balances that underpin our democracies. You're not using that right.
I'm sorry. What
types
is
of democracies?
No, but what are Western values other than Western democracies? I mean, it's mutually incompatible what they're saying.
But it's smart because democracy has turned into a trigger word. It doesn't mean what you think it means.
No, democracy is going to be
the Chinese think they have
greater
a democracy.
Good. It's going to be the greater good because it's going to have abandoned the Western value of individual rights and freedom of speech.
I love that. Like, comment, and share. World Economic Forum.
By the way,
they're YouTubers.
Can you comment on it, Poseidon, or have they shut down comments?
Oh, there's no way they shut down. Click on the YouTube where it says on the bottom. No, on the video. Yeah, there you go. There's no way they shut down comments.
There's no way they let comments up. Oh, they did.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
good.
let comments up.
Oh, no, they did.
Yeah, good for them. Good for them.
Number one comment. What's the top comment?
This sounds like 1984 to me.
Yeah. It's Poseidon.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's me.
You liked it. Yeah.
Oi.
It's crazy views.
You following the January 6th committee hearings in the States?
At all. You know why I'm not following it? Because I feel like everything being said about it in the media is preposterous. I watched when it happened at the same time. So when they're saying stuff now that doesn't make any sense to me, I'm like, oh, they're doing propaganda again.
It's you want to talk 1984? This is propaganda of the highest order.
Yeah.
From beginning to end, and I'm live.
Why lie? We could see what happened.
Well,
I don't know why you're bullshitting.
Because there's a lot of people who are, they believe it because they want to believe it. Because their hatred for Trump and half of America is sufficient to suspend their disbelief.
They let Alex Jones. They were doing the same thing to Alex Jones. They were like, he was asking for it, and then as soon as the video surfaced of him saying, "Don't go in there. This is crazy. Why would you go in there? Don't nobody go in there." Then they're like, "All right, leave him alone. He's got video."
No. And as crazy as they say Alex Jones is, he literally said, "Don't go there. It's a setup." And whether or not it was a setup from the get-go or set up afterwards, as in it's being exploited.
I don't know if it was a setup. I think it was more of just mismanagement. No one thought that a dude dressed like a mythological moose man would walk into.
I could go one step further on the proverbial black pill on this, and that intelligence, they all knew what was coming because on the one hand, some of the protesters had obtained permits, so they knew what the itinerary of the protest was going to be. They knew in advance people were planning to storm the Capitol. Intelligence knew and had seen online plans. People were making fun of it.
Stupid.
No, they were mocking it like, oh, these flyover Americans are going to storm the Capitol. Yeah. They were mocking the idea that it was going to happen, but they knew that there was chatter online that was known to intelligence. What do? Nothing. What do we know now? Judicial Watch filed a FOIA request over the Capitol police officer who shot Ashley Babbitt point blank.
When you file one, do you get the documents without the
being redacted? It depends. No, first of all, typically you don't get them. You file the FOIA request, they don't respond,
you go fuck yourself,
and then you have to go to court, which they've done. Judicial Watch does amazing stuff with FOIA requests, but now they found out that they were half-staffed or understaffed because of COVID.
Yes.
All right. So what a convenient thing. You get rewarded for your own incompetence by having an understaffed, most important building in America get penetrated. Some cases, the police opened the door, and this is not conspiracy, anybody who thinks I'm lying. An individual was just acquitted by a judge in D.C. who said the cops opened the door and invited them in. How was he supposed to know it was a restricted area? All of the other defendants thus far have not been quite as fortunate because D.C., you'll get a fair trial only in that you can predict that it's going to be unfair. Understaffed, they let the people in certain areas. In other areas, we've seen from the January 6th committee, 3 cops with bike fences as the perimeter, getting overrun by protesters, and it happened. How the hell are you sitting there protecting the Capitol building with freaking bike racks? And then you say they got in.
Don't downplay bike racks, bro.
No, those could be really good. It's like the velvet rope.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't cross the velvet rope. And now they're weaponizing this event to try to press criminal charges against Trump,
which is absurd. I don't know.
It's absurd. They're going with the fraud angle. By the way, this is beautiful.
Ooh, I want to hear this.
Because Trump and campaign used the events of the allegedly stolen election. I have to actually watch my words here. We're going to go on YouTube. They use that as the pretext for fundraising for litigation to challenge the constitutionality of some of those ballots. And they raised, I think it's hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, people really wanted to check.
Yeah,
and did they check anything?
They didn't. Well, so of the 60 lawsuits filed by Trump and allies, half of them were dismissed on procedural grounds. Some got a little bit further, but none of them succeeded in any meaningful sense at the time. But they raised, I want to say, hundreds of millions of dollars, and didn't really use it for the litigation, and it was a grift. I don't know if it was a Trump grift in as much as it was a GOP fundraising grift, in which case Trump might not be responsible directly, but they used his name.
Yeah, they stiffed people.
They solicited donations on a inaccurate pretext. And I had Trump's attorney, Jenna Ellis, on my channel with Robert Barnes, and we were discussing it. People who are in the know, and even those who consider themselves to be Trump allies, said this was a grift. It wasn't necessarily Trump grift. It was a GOP grift where they said, donate to the GOP.
And we're going to check this out.
And we're going to pursue all these lawsuits. And they didn't. But now the guy, the chair, Benny Thompson, suggesting that this might be criminal against Trump. The bottom line of all of this.
I don't know if it's criminal against Trump, but I think that's they should be investigated. There should be no political grifting.
If there were no political grifting, there might not be grifting. There might not be politics at all.
Yeah, that's true too.
No, but we discussed it. I discussed it on my channel at the time. And subsequent. There's questions to be asked there. But this January 6th hearing,
it's ludicrous.
You have to have a stomach of steel to actually listen to this rubbish. The committee members, for anybody who doesn't know or care, 9 committee members. This is billed as a bipartisan committee. 9 committee members, 7 Democrats, 2 Republicans. The only 2 Republicans were personally appointed by Nancy Pelosi.
Ooh, excellent.
They've done 500 days.
She's great at trading.
She's never, no comment on Pelosi. I have nothing nice to say, but they spent 500 days investigating this. The findings, they've spliced together edited videos.
Where is the Moose Man? That's my question.
Oh, he's in Jake Angeli's in jail for 41 months. 41 months.
I don't feel like he committed enough crimes for 41 months.
He was in detention until then. I think he got whatever benefit of time served.
I think he looked ludicrous.
4 years. There was another guy.
Did he have a gun on him?
No, he had a freaking flag on a spear. He had
just trespassing, whatever.
It was just trespassing, parading and picketing in a I don't even think it was a restricted area. These are misdemeanor charges, non-violent offenses. Shouldn't say that. He might have been convicted on a felony charge. He pleaded, Angeli, and then he got sentenced to 41 months.
41 months.
41 months.
Was it because of the style? Was it a crime of style? Was it the fashion police that got him?
It was a crime because he's in a district which is fundamentally hostile. They view this as an attack on all of them. The judges, the citizenry who sit on these jury trials, view this as an attack on them. DC is 94% Democrat.
The man in the face paint.
So he got shafted up the wazoo. This other guy who I just had on 2 weeks ago, Brandon Straka, he founded the walkaway movement.
Brandon Straka, he was a hockey player.
So this guy was not a hockey player. Okay. The Brandon Straka that I interviewed, he was the founder of Walkaway. He's a gay male. And I say that only because, he's quite open about it, and it defines his political journey in that he's a gay man who supported Hillary Clinton.
I receive gay mail here all the time.
He's a gay man who supported Hillary Clinton in 2016 and then had his revelation where he walked away from the Democrat Party when he realized that they just use token minorities for political gain. Founded Walkaway.
Everyone does it, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree. He was on the Capitol on January 6, 2021, recording videos. On the steps, never went through a door, recorded 8.5 minutes of video of the crowd at the door. You can see the video for yourself. I don't want to describe it more than that. I don't want to be accused of misrepresenting it. 2 weeks later, he was charged with 4 misdemeanor charges.
Of?
The same stuff. It was misdemeanor of, I think it was, being in an area, a restricted area, knowingly being in a restricted area. I think, I might be wrong, but it doesn't matter.
On the steps there?
On the steps.
Yeah.
They threatened him with felony charges later on. He pleaded. So he pleaded guilty to 1, it was petty misdemeanor. He was sentenced to, after he had spent 2 days in jail, released, this took a year, pleaded guilty to 1 misdemeanor charge because of the threat of subsequent, further felony charges, sentenced to 3 months house arrest, 3 years probation, the maximum fine possible, when his crime consisted of 8.5 minutes of him recording what was going on the steps, and they accused him of saying "take the shield" when the crowd took a police officer's shield, and being in a restricted area.
Well, did he say that?
I don't think he did. And even, I don't think he did based on the sound of the audio. You don't know. There's no way of knowing. But he pleaded guilty. And even if he did, it might be one of those things like get the shield, as in like just get it out of the crowd, so it, put it to the side type thing, because they were surfing with this shield. Where it came from, I don't know. But it's nuts. But all that they're doing with this January 6th.
I have a question.
Yep.
It's a dumb question, but I'm just curious. So these are all American citizens. That is Capitol Hill for the Americans. How are they not allowed to walk on those steps? Didn't they pay for it?
It's the people's building. I mean, that's the argument for it. It's the same thing.
Going inside, I get it. There's fear. People got shot. Well, it was scary. You don't know what's going on. Okay, I can understand that. People are at work. But the steps, isn't that where you would go protest if you wanted to? It doesn't make any sense. It's
where you do go to protest.
Yeah.
But there's even an argument that it's the people's building.
Yeah, it is. That's what I'm saying.
They can go into it as well. That argument is there. The whole thing is like, it's like the Ottawa protest where they say entering and remaining in a restricted area. I don't know.
But you can't just create a restricted area. I paid for that area.
That's the other thing is you can't create the restricted area. I don't know when it became a restricted area. And when they let you into it, can they then say, oh, here, come on in. And now it's restricted. Now you're all screwed. I mean, it's effectively...
It's a fucking good move, though.
It's effectively what Trudeau did with the protest.
That's a good move.
This protest, there's no court order. I decree this protest to be illegal. And if you stay here now, you're committing all sorts of crimes, as they've been persecuting and prosecuting.
I don't agree with him. I think that was some bullshit. However, sneaky move. It's sneaky on his part. Good job.
Kim Jong-un would be proud.
That was a very sneaky move.
Well played, Grasshopper.
Yeah. He pulled a nice Battle of Thermopylae. He's like, come in. And now you're cornered.
Illegal. And now I'm going to ruin your life. Freeze your bank accounts. Prosecute you to the fullest.
What's going on with that? What the hell's going on with that? That's got
all of that is undone now. I think they've released the last of the bank accounts that were frozen.
I have a question for you, quickly, before I forget. I saw Scotiabank apologize to one of the. Now you tell me, because you're the man of the law. The second they apologize, you only apologize if you're admitting wrongdoing.
Who did they apologize
Doesn't that
to?
open up that person? If I was that person, right away I'd lawyer up and sue the shit out of them. You just admitted it.
I would have lawyered up and sued them in the first place, because
I'm saying, but the admittance, the fact that they just admitted, oh, my bad, you're bad.
Poseidon, could you double check who they apologized for? I think it was Ben Dichter.
I don't know any of these people. That's a great comedy name, Ben Dichter. I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
He'll have to change it to Benjamin now. I think it was Ben Dichter, but yeah, they apologized. First of all, I would have sued from day one because
it's crazy.
I don't believe they ever got the immunity that dictator Trudeau promised, because they never ratified the emergency decree. So they never got that immunity that was promised to them for doing something unlawful.
I would sue the fuck out of these people.
And
Scotiabank apologizes to Freedom Convoy organizer for freezing.
Yeah, who was the organizer?
We're sorry for the frustration and inconvenience.
Benjamin Dichter's Substack.
Please accept our sincere apology. Are you crazy? Please accept this fucking lawsuit.
I'll accept it. And thank you for giving my Exhibit 1 to my lawsuit against him. But the only question is, does this guy have money? They screwed him so bad. Who's he going to find?
A smart lawyer would take it pro bono and then split the winnings.
Not in Canada. I mean, what would be his damages? A month of inconvenience. They'll give him $50,000.
No, more than inconvenience. Psychological trauma. What are you doing? I'm not in North Korea.
This is why I say, like, the highly litigious society of America has its pros and its cons. Yeah. There's some cons and, like, people fake it. Yeah. There's some pros. It makes people, in theory, don't do dumb things.
Yeah.
He'll get nothing for psychological damages.
There's some dumb shit happening in Florida, I'll tell you.
He'll get nothing for psychological damages, emotional distress, nominal, and then real damages. Okay, $50,000. No lawyer's going to take it on contingency.
No.
And then the real problem is, very few lawyers might even be inclined to take it, because we're having in Canada the same type of weaponizing of the ethics complaint process that they have in the States. You remember the lawyers who represented Trump systematically targeted for ethics violation complaints. Defamation lawsuits.
Talk about Rudy Giuliani?
Oh, Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and I can't
Giuliani's biggest crime was that hair paint.
No, well, Giuliani said stupid things.
Funniest Giuliani said I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
That's embarrassing.
That spray paint, bro? What are you doing?
He was sweating dark sweat from the top of his head. No, but Giuliani, Sidney Powell, they said stupid things. Whether or not they're stupid enough to warrant, revoking their law licenses, absolutely not. There it is. Oh, it's so embarrassing.
So funny.
But no, they're doing the same thing in Canada. People are filing complaints against lawyers representing the convoy.
What?
This is Keith Wilson, a lawyer. I had him on my channel for an interview.
Legally, you're allowed to seek counsel?
Well, first of all, not only are you allowed to, you are ethically obligated to defend to the fullest extent of the law your clients. But now you have these people who want to come out and fabricate phony ethics violation complaints and submit them to the bar to frustrate a lawyer's ability to practice on the basis that they were at the protest, therefore they're guilty of mischief also, whatever. Yeah, they're doing it here. They've done it. They've perfected this weaponizing of the licensure board in the States, but they're doing it here too. So you're gonna run into a lot of lawyers who are gonna say, I don't need the headache to do this, and that's why we're lucky to have some lawyers who have the moral fortitude, like the Keith Wilsons, like the John Carpays, like the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, to do it despite the malicious backlash and the malicious tactics used by activists who want to make the lives hell of the participants and anyone who would dare represent them.
This is scary stuff.
What's scary about it is that people feel morally, what's the word I'm looking at? Morally virtuous for doing it, morally justified for doing it, and a lot of other people, if they won't do it themselves, will support those who are doing it.
So we're setting ourselves up. So in 10 years,
there's going to be
scared to look at your neighbor crooked.
CBC ran an article about the joys and the perils of snitching on your neighbors during a pandemic. Poseidon, could you pull up the article about Keith Wilson ethics complaint? I just want to make sure I got the facts right, and people should know this. Keith Wilson is a fantastic lawyer.
I don't know who this guy is.
No, who knows of Canadian lawyers? Like you'd never know, but for a story. Here we go.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, go for it.
At the height of the truckers' protests in Ottawa, Alberta attorney Keith Wilson was part of the legal team representing some of the convoy organizers. Mr. worked what? What is this?
I don't know what that's.
Okay.
Mr. He worked whatever the heck that means. He works for the Justice Center, or he works with.
Okay.
An Ottawa human rights lawyer believes Keith Wilson violated his code of ethics and has filed a complaint against him with the Law Society of Alberta. This, from what I understand, is an Ottawa lawyer who's never had any professional dealings with Keith Wilson filing an ethics complaint in Alberta.
Why?
Because he doesn't like the guy.
Oh, because he represented the truckers?
Because he was representing the truckers in the context of negotiations, and he's representing... right now, he's representing Peckford, I believe, in the federal... Yes, he is. He's representing Brian Peckford in his federal challenge to the mandate, the vaccine mandate, which Supreme Leader Trudeau graciously... we're expecting he's going to lift it today. And he was representing another one of the convoy protesters. Weaponize everything. Try to have his bank accounts frozen. Try to have his license taken away. This guy, the guy who filed the complaint, has had, as far as I understand, no professional dealings with him. It should be unethical to file abusive ethics complaints.
Yeah, that's unethical.
I think it is. I'm not going to go out or even recommend anybody go out and file, because it's like the vicious spiral to hell. Now some people go file an ethics complaint against this guy for filing an abusive ethics complaint against another guy. It's at some point, people are upset because it seems like taking the moral high ground doesn't get you anywhere, but neither does becoming the monster that you're battling.
I heard a rumor online that Trudeau faked getting COVID now because he couldn't face the public because he didn't have time after a party he had in California to get the face paint off. He didn't want another scandal.
I did hear it was...
I don't think it's true.
It was Kean Bexley.
However, I think it's a hilarious rumor.
Kean Bexley did have a theory as to why... Kean Bexley used to be at Rebel News. He's at Counter Signal now, I think. He had a theory as to why Trudeau might be faking it this time. Again, there was some...
Does he have another meeting?
There was some serious meeting which he got out of.
Oh, that's good.
As people suspect he faked it during the Ottawa protest to avoid having to do his frickin' job as a prime minister and address Canadians. But if he's faking it, man, he's undermining the other side of the position that he's supposed to be fortifying. He's
that guy at work with the excuse all the time. He's like, sorry guys, my grandma died. He's like, that's the third time this year. He's like, yeah, but I got 3 grandmas. Is there a problem? He's that guy. I come from a big family. Yeah, I come from a big family. No, it's and by the way, yeah. Oh, what a thing! Yeah, got it twice in 5 months. That in and of itself, if true, is a problem. Yeah, he's got to eat better. Give him other stuff. Yeah, I said, give him some vitamin C. It's travel is stressful. He misunderstood everything I told him to take when I said take the D. He misunderstood what I was talking about. Vitamins, Justine. Everyone watching knows that Poseidon. I did it again. I'm an idiot. Pantelis.
Now I can tell Pantelis is actually pissed. No, everyone should know Pantelis is a good stand-up comic.
Yeah, but some people, it's funny because like I'll have your fans come in, they have no idea, even though it says Pantelis comedy. But what is this guy? Why is he making jokes? It's hilarious.
I thought Viva doesn't do these things.
Yeah.
Yes, people watching from Viva Frei, Pantelis is a great stand-up comic. And for those
the best.
Who did you did some writing for prominent people?
Yes, I did. I don't even talk about it. But I do. Yeah, I write. And also, I got my own shows this summer, just for laughs. In French, I have 3 big shows coming up. I don't know if I'm doing anything in English. I did speak with one of the guys over there last week. We were at the press conference together. We'll see if they tell me anything to do in English. But in French, I'm doing 3 shows.
You don't find any political issues, like any reluctance to have you as a guest based on some of the content you have on your channel?
I don't think so. Because I don't really have a... Like people want to talk, everyone's kind of welcome. Like I don't have a anti this, anti that. I have pretty much anyone on that I think is interesting.
Did Trudeau ever accept your gracious invitation to come on?
No, he didn't accept my gracious invitation. And while we're on the subject, most politicians don't accept. The bigger the politician, even if they're available, they don't want to do long form interviews like this because they're scared. Because I'm not going to edit it. Like I'm not going to cut out shit.
Yep.
And that scares the shit out of them, which always leads me to believe that they're disingenuous, and I don't want to vote for them.
1,000%. I had on Roman Bieber, long format, fearless. Éric Duhaime from the Conservative Party of Quebec, long format, fearless. Maxime Bernier. Anybody who avoids a long format is they're effectively admitting they either don't know material enough to actually get into the depths of it, or they're too cowardly to have faith in their words that,
Then again, there are some people who accept long format because they're crazy, and they just want to rant. So it's not 100%, but I have reached out. I was even speaking to I think the people with Pierre Poilievre. I had like 2 different channels reach out to him to try to get him on. It was always like, oh yeah, we'll see. I want to ask questions. I just want to know what they're thinking because right now I don't have a politician in this country that motivates me. That I'm like, oh, I could get behind this person.
Yeah,
no one.
No.
So I'm not.
I'd like to have Pierre on as well, but I mean, it's weird.
Hard.
Well, the other thing is they get to say, I'm not going on a channel that had Alex Jones on the channel, or I'm not going on a channel with somebody who, it's like everybody can find an excuse to select who they'll have a discussion with.
Yeah.
But typically that's a sign of cowardice and not courage.
Yeah, I'm all for the funny. My goal is to make people laugh. That's my end goal. I want people to have fun, but I want to ask questions. When I see something stupid, I bring it up. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But so far, I mean, shit that we were saying last year seems to be coming to fruition.
At an accelerated pace.
Yeah.
So, and now, the Bill C-11 has made it past the House. It's got to go through the Senate. The Senate is...
So if they shut me down, I can't even sue them.
We'll be content creators will be lucky. It will take some time for all of this to actually really suffocate content creation, independent content creation.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad I reminded myself. All of it, if I haven't already said it, is designed to give the edge to the CBCs, the state-funded media on the internet where they've lost it all. But it won't be overnight. But it will suffocate any critical independent voice in Canada, which will make, by consequence, it will suffocate criticism, and it will basically make everyone dependent on pleasing the CanCon government requirements in order not to get penalized or to get favored by the what will be the Canadian algorithm of the interwebs. But hopefully, the Senate is called. There's a word for it. They call it like the conscience of the Parliament, where they're supposed to be the step back, objective body to analyze a piece of legislation that might have gotten through the House because of political reasons. They seemed to have gotten it right, or were going to get it right on the Emergencies Act invocation, because for anybody who doesn't remember, Trudeau rescinded it before the Senate voted on it after the debate before the House of Commons where it was approved and went to the Senate. The theory is that he knew the Senate was not going to approve it because even they are not that politically stupid, even though they're mostly appointed by Liberals and Trudeau. Hopefully they're going to have some sense of critique with this and maybe send it back for review, or just...
What's your temperature on that? What do you think the odds are?
I'm not optimistic.
No, huh?
No. It's I'm not optimistic about anything in Canada. But the problem is I'm not sure that I'm optimistic on anything in the world. Things have got to start coming back the other way before they get to a point of no return. They say the pendulum swings and it swings back.
Yeah.
That's true unless it swings so much that it falls over. Then it ain't swimming. It ain't swinging back when it's on the ground.
Yeah, if everything's destroyed. I love the middle. That's where everybody should be, the middle.
I mean, but the problem is the middle changes based on the extremes. And when you have one side continually becoming more and more extreme, the middle then becomes the other side.
Too extreme. You're like, what do you mean you want to be reasonable? That's absurd.
No, but it's like it gets into the debate of being reasonable. It's like, of course, women should have equal rights. Of course, gays and lesbians should be able to have civil union. If you don't,
who's fighting against this?
If you refuse the marriage definition, of course they should have the same tax benefits that married couples. Of course, and then it gets into the point where. Of course, you should be letting kids go to drag shows. Of course, you should be teaching kindergartners
leave
about
kids alone.
No, but that's and so, but that becomes the new middle ground that now becomes the extreme because they're pulling. It's like, oh well, you supported gay rights and you supported women's rights. Well, now you have to support trans male rights to compete in women's sports. It's like, and now just by
am I not trumping on women's rights by doing that?
Well, my operating theory is that
it's too complicated.
They are in their new pursuit of a new group to fight for the rights of, they're trumping the rights of another group that spent 100 years fighting for their own rights.
I know how we could solve this. Every women's sport that men are going into are trans and they're like, no, I want to compete in that sport. Have all the women in that league competing, secret vote, decide if they're cool with it. If they're cool with it, it's not my problem. I'm not in that sport. If they're not cool with it, it's still not my problem, but they've decided.
Well, here's the issue, is that even if they do that, it's my problem because I've got 2 daughters and...
But your daughters would vote no.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting, but then you either secret. Look, that's not.
I say secret vote because or else they're gonna be like, you bigot, you don't want to compete against a man.
Well,
what are you scared of?
I've got the other idea is that just people have to be responsible with their own life decisions. If you want to do something, you're free to do it. That was the thing about gay rights, gay marriage, women's rights is it affected only the individual. They say I just want equality, not I want because of my own decisions to affect you. And so, I mean, that's where we're at. It's at a point now where people just, they don't just want to make their own decisions. They want other people to change their behaviors as a result of their decisions. And that's not about individual rights anymore. That's about compelling others to do certain things, which is the antithesis of individual rights. Yeah. But NPR just ran a story or a tweet yesterday where they said, people who menstruate. Like,
oh, you mean ladies?
They're talking about well, I don't know what they mean, but they're talking about a shortage of tampons. Because of what, the world shortages of stuff. It went from baby food to tampons.
Now it's too many ladies?
And they said people who menstruate. I mean, it's such an idiotic thing because even
okay, because they don't want to say women because they might offend people who identify as women but don't have periods because they're not women.
Birthing persons. I mean, the thing is this, even if you, and nobody should have any issue with an individual's personal decisions.
Yeah, who gives a fuck?
Even if you are trans is a non-issue with me.
Yeah. It's a non-issue. I don't believe with most
it's a non-issue.
people.
But I wouldn't say that a biological male who becomes a female menstruates because I scientifically I don't think they do.
They don't. But that's not like hearsay. They don't.
Well, that might get that. I don't know if that gets people into trouble these days.
But how? But
my issue is the NPR now.
That's not a problem. They don't.
No, I don't think they.
If anything, they should celebrate that they don't.
Well, okay, but the NPR now in this like virtuous political correctness, so supportive of other rights. They're basically, they refuse to say the word woman. Yeah. And so they are basically the most egregious misogynists imaginable. They are denying the existence of women under some...
Maybe they don't want to mention them because they don't want them to call in. These bras, they can get yappy. I don't need that on the radio.
I do not. This is a Pantelis stand-up comedy. without approval from Viva Frei.
Could you imagine somebody's just like, yeah, no, that was a real statement. He doesn't want ladies on the radio because they talk too much.
Pantelis, do you want to hear how dishonest the media is?
They might do that, yeah.
They might. At one point during the federal election, or slightly before, Maxime Bernier said that Maoists have infiltrated the Canadian government. He tweeted it out.
What is a Maoist?
He meant communist. It was a freaking joke. Okay. It was an obvious, hyperbolic, exaggeration, satire, idiotic joke of a post.
But I'm just curious. Maoist means like just the people that follow like Mao Zedong's rule?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's not a religion?
No. I think he meant like Chinese communists. Infiltrated Canadian politics. Journal de Montréal or one of these stations
wrote meow. He's against cats.
No, he said Maxime Bernier tweets that communists have infiltrated the Canadian government as though it was serious. So, You know, about your joke. There is no level of dishonesty.
Oh, no, I've seen it. People take shit out of context. It comes with the territory.
Yeah.
It doesn't faze me. I don't care. It's too stupid to give a shit about.
I still get frustrated. W5. I don't know if you're following my...
I remember W5. That was a good show.
Well, it was a good show. Now it's garbage. I agreed. They
taught me to not trust mechanics.
Well, you know, they've taught me now not to trust W5. They called me up, or I got an email in January saying, you're a Canadian content creator. We'd love to talk to you about Rumble, this Canadian platform, get your perspective as a Canadian. You're very popular. I was like, oh, sure, come. They come in, we do an interview, 2 hours, you know, yada, yada. About 20 minutes into the interview, it becomes clear to me that this is not an explorative piece to celebrate a Canadian platform to rival YouTube.
This is a hit piece.
This is a hit piece against Rumble, where at one point, Kevin Newman, the journalist, he says, Viva, you know, I've looked at some of the comments of your videos on Rumble, and some of the comments are quite honestly inciting violence. Here, people talk about, you know, collecting ammo.
Those are internet comments.
I said, first of all, if you
ever been on Facebook?
You ever been on YouTube? If that's where you're going with this, and I said, you think I'm going to be responsible for millions of? Regardless, no one is going to mistake in my message ever, which is to never get violent, because I said it as a joke during the interview. It just gives fodder to the government and journalists like you to paint everyone with a big brush. They run the piece, and during the piece, they say, David Frei, who's had videos pulled from YouTube, posts challenged by Facebook, but never by Rumble. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? I had
weird.
One video temporarily pulled from YouTube. It was an Alex Jones deposition breakdown in 2018, reinstated, remonetized. I've never had anything challenged by Facebook, which I find quite, you know, I'm impressed by it. And I said, guys, wrong. Can you correct this, please? And then they go and do a little stealth edit to the digital version, which just said, David Frei, who's had a video pulled from YouTube, but never from Rumble. I was like, no, guys, that's not good enough. And then I send a lawyer's letter. 3 weeks later, I get a response through my lawyer, says, we're going to update and correct the story in a June 11th public broadcast, which was last Saturday. In that broadcast, they rerun the whole hit piece on Rumble, same angle, same everything. And then at the end, Kevin Newman says, in our original broadcast, we initially said YouTube has pulled down videos, Facebook challenged, but never Rumble. David Frei reached out to us and said that was inaccurate. He has only had one COVID video pulled from YouTube, and Facebook automatically generates warnings or whatever on Facebook on COVID posts. I was like, it wasn't a COVID video. I never informed you what Facebook does because I don't know what it does. You guys are just a bunch of liars.
Shit.
I don't know what Facebook does. I never said that. I've never had a post challenged by Facebook. In their correction, they say I've had a COVID video pulled, and I informed them that Facebook automatically generates challenges to COVID material.
But you sent a lawyer's letter, so it's documented what you said.
I know. I put out a video yesterday that broke it down, but liars. The only question is now, do you sue? Is it worth the headache? Is it worth the inconvenience? Is it worth...
You being a lawyer, you're not allowed to represent yourself?
I am, but I wouldn't.
That'd be so cool.
No, it's not. It's not cool. First of all, a judge...
Your Honor, I object to most of the shit I'm saying.
No, it's not. You need... Like, a doctor doesn't operate on themselves. A lawyer should not represent themselves. You know, a doctor couldn't operate on themselves because of the...
He's a shit doctor.
Well, no. The physical pain of operating on yourself would make you do that. The psychological pain of representing yourself will make you make mistakes.
Oh, mate,
You need a
clear-headed individual.
A clear-headed individual who's not emotionally, personally invested for good, independent legal advice.
I'll have you represent me when I get sued.
I'm not. If I can help it, I'm never going to represent anyone in front of the courts again. I
love how against the courts you are.
I'm not against the courts. I just wouldn't. It's a machine that chews you up and spits you out. And if you've seen how hot dogs are made, you stay out of the machine. It's even when you win, you lose.
You think we could get back to a peaceful place where everyone just likes each other? And we look out for each other?
The funny thing is, it's got to come from the top down, but that change has got to come from the bottom up. So it's a bit of a paradox. We're not going to love each other when we have the most divisive, degrading, dishonest, unethical prime minister in power.
Well, he's going to go at some point.
We got another 3 years with his unholy alliance of hell with Jagmeet Singh.
There's another 3 years of this?
2025. I think they just had the election in 2021, so it's 4 years.
I don't care. It was a shitty election.
4 years they can hold off an election, and they want to.
Man.
I think there's a theory that Jagmeet Singh wants to, because in the interim, in the next 3 years, he'll get his, what's it called when you have worked with the government for long enough? Pension. He'll be eligible for pension if he serves 6 years. So...
He can just quit and make money.
Well, I don't know how much they make, and he might get it as of 65 years old.
Genius move.
Well, the other genius move is politically, I think he'd be in trouble if there were another election, as would Justin.
Yeah.
But it's got to come from the top down, but that change has got to come from the bottom up. So how does it happen? You got a prime minister in power who is demonizing half of the country, if not more. You've got the new Democrat leader, Jagmeet Singh, supporting him and holding up his unethical, unconstitutional regime. Poilievre might make some headway. Conservatives are still too far behind, and I don't trust them. Period.
There we go. Me too. That's how I feel.
No, I said they'll make change before I vote for them. I'm not going to vote for them on the promise of change.
I'm with you. I'm tired of promises. Yep. Everyone's lying.
And so, Maxime...
Trudeau promised he was going to be cool. He's been anything but cool.
Trudeau promised we're not a country that makes vaccination mandatory. 6 months later, I believe vaccination should be mandatory for travel on plane and train. He's a liar through and through. Do you still have a video go viral of him talking about... we're Canadians. We have guns. We like to go out in nature and shoot things. They're not going to take your guns away. This is 20 years ago. Yeah, it's all tyrants have very flexible morals when it comes to retaining their power.
His virtue has been signaling a lot lately. Viva, if people don't know you, which would be surprising, but if they don't, I got your links in the description. Viva Frei on Rumble, on the Twitters, on the YouTubes. You're everywhere right now. You and Barnes do your live streams.
We do our live streams, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. On Locals, I'm going to be on Timcast. I don't know when you're going to broadcast this, but we're going on Timcast Thursday night.
Oh, we're going to be in Atlanta Thursday night, but I'm going to try to broadcast this before. I'm going to try to do it by today or tomorrow.
Okay, awesome.
Get this out there so we can, I want to promote that. We'll talk about the Timcast.
It's going to be amazing.
Viva, thank you again.
Thank you.
We've built this prison cell 'cause we can't trust ourselves. Critically shamed and all our faith. We'll make a murder say that this is the American dream. You're gonna have to fight if you wanna believe. Stick it all away. My social insecurities crawl under my skin.